Hello ladies, this is Jill. Wanted to share with you quickly what I worked on this weekend for the ATC Swap at the beach hosted by Hope, and this is for April. And this is my ATC that I have done. My inspiration, of course, was my new Tim Holtz Alterations die cut. So let's get started. First off, the paper in the background is from this collection by Tim Coffey of K & Company. It's double-sided paper, and I think it's beautiful. I've got a lot of plans for that paper this summer. And also, the paper I used behind that to adhere it to is this acrylic, which is 246-pound paper, and I adhered the two papers together using a spray adhesive. So once it was all glued up, then I cut it up into 2.5 by 3.5 required sizes. I then chopped all the edges with the 1/4-inch round edge chomper, and then I put this border lace stamp on the bottom using the Color Box black pigment ink, and this stamp, it's made by Prima. I believe I purchased this from Jen at Live, Teach, Create. Then once I had that prepared, set that aside, I then took a bird cage and covered it with a stamp of this Minuet music note stuff. And this is a Stampabilities stamp, and because one die cut did not give me enough body to do anything with, I Mod Podged the two of them together and then dried them overnight on a paper towel. Actually, I had a couple of paper towel rolls, and so that they had that kind of a bend to them, because the bird cage was wider than the 2.5 inches. So if I would have just gone flat, it would have hung over. And I don't know if you can see that because of the same color there, but anyway, so with the bend in it, I was able to get it to adhere to the dimensions. So then I sprayed it with a homemade glimmer spray that was a combination of vintage photo and antique linen with the perfect pearls of heirloom gold. So, and I even wrote the recipe down so I wouldn't forget it. But then, so it was covered in the stamp, the homemade glimmer mist, and then left overnight to dry in the arch. Then I had this lace, and because I was making 13, I had to come up with things that I could add access to 13 units of. So I cut this pennant style lace, and then I simply attached the lace to the back of my curved bird cage. And I attached it using the Tim Holtz tiny attacher, which I really love, but then the attacher showed from the back, so I found a piece of blue in my cardstock, punched out a 1-inch circle to cover up the back, and it was a perfect fit. So I just attached that with the glossy accents. So anyway, that was basically my prep work, and then I was on to my bird. My bird was a combination of my pins, which I love pin art. I can play all day, and I love making shadows. And then the eyes is a combination of the two blues, and of course the center of the eye and the top of the black beak was the white. And then after that was, and then the body of the bird, I used this stamp from TPC Studios, Boho Blooms. But I noticed that if I played with it, there was an opening about where the head of the bird would fall. So I ended up with that effect on the bird body, as you can see here. Oh, dirty, inky hands. So then I took the stamps and played with the other shadowing and stuff, and then the bark, the beak, and the wing, all that fun stuff. So anyway, once I had him the way I liked him, times 13, I then covered him with the triple thick, which I love triple thick. Still love Beauty, but I also love triple thick. Two totally different uses. They each have a place in your craft room if you're interested, ladies. And then the wing I just did in I believe it was soft suede. So glued him all together, then attached a feather to the back of him, simply using a glue dot, and then I weaved him, whatever, in between, because I had to put the bird in after I had glued this to here, so I had my bend. And then of course, before I did any of that, I didn't even do this. My girlfriend did my charms for me with the jump ring, because I couldn't do it with my hands. But anyway, so it got woven between there, and then it was just glued on using glossy accents in places that had contact. But he's pretty much floating in there. He's not real adhered, but he's in there. Then I wanted something on the outside. So if you have birds, you know that a bird feather laying around a bird cage is not uncommon. So I put another bird feather of another color in contrast to it. Then I wanted to do a butterfly, but my butterfly was way disproportionate in scale to my size of my bird. Not that this is a life-size proportion, but it was a lot closer using the dragonfly. So I used the Martha Stewart dragonfly punch, using the same paper that is adhered to the back of the bird cage. However, it is the reverse side. So punched him out, and then just used some pearls to give him some dimension and some depth. I have pearls behind the bird on the paper before I put the cage down, and I had 3 of these that I simply cut up to use to come up with some layered depth back there. So, and then on the back, when I signed it with all of my information, I did a J wax seal. So, and all I have left to do is go in and number them, 1 of, 2 of, and then of course I neglected to tell you the bauble that is on top. They're all different because they came in a set of this. So I ended up with a set I don't need, so I get to take this one back. So anyway, but this does match the K & Company paper, the Tim Coffey Bloomwood paper. So anyway, ladies, this is my ATC for this month. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing it. I look forward to getting everyone's ATC back. And thank you, Hope, for all your hard work, because this has been a lot of fun. And look forward to next month. Wonder what our theme is going to be. Have a good night. Bye.